Welcome to today's video. Happy 4th of July, and we're going to get the Corvette ready for a track day. We're going to change the engine oil, brake fluid and brake pads out, clean the mass airflow sensor. All this is going to be kind of with the idea of getting it ready for a track day, as well as dyno tuning, because that has to get done too. If you're new to the channel, hope you give it a like or subscribe, and hope you enjoyed today's video. Till then. So it is fucking pouring out, and the poor Corvette got a little bit wet on the way home. Alright, so I got the car up in the air and it's on a couple jack stands. I'm going to do the rear first, because when you do anything like bleeding the brakes, you want to start with the one farthest away from the master cylinder. So whether or not you know that, that's why I'm doing the rear first. I'll start with the rear passenger side. I'll get the wheel off, bleed that side and change the brake pad out. And then I'll move over to the driver's side, at which point we can put it back down and move to the front of the car. So until then, we'll get the wheels off and we'll start taking the calipers off. So here we are on the passenger side of the car. I got both of the wheels off, and start with changing out the pads. It's a 15mm nut, or I guess it'd be a 15mm bolt, top and bottom down here on each side, and then I'll get the caliper off. Anyway, so the pads are almost gone on the back, and I'd assume the fronts are worse. They've been starting to squeal a little bit. I'm just replacing with Duralast Gold parts store pads. Here's the rears. They're pretty small front pads, and do have a little bit of brake sauce, a little high performance brake lubricant. So I'll put that on the bolts and the sliders before I'm all done here. But anyways, a lot of people would say get better stuff, but it's only going to see maybe a few hours of track time at the very most this year. I don't think I'm going to make it there more than once to the semi-local racetrack anyways. So not going to go with anything too exotic for now, because it's going to see 99.99% street use. So I'll get the old caliper pulled off and go from there. Alright, so I got rear caliper loose. I'm not going to show you the other side. It'll be the exact same. It's not too terribly interesting. So I did have to compress the piston a little bit, and one of the brake pads slid right out. Not a ton of life left on it, but it's not bad either. I think the fronts will be worse. Slide this one out on the piston side. Let's see what that looks like. So about the same. I'll get the new pads installed, and I will get some fresh fluid into these calipers from the master cylinder up there in the engine bay. So I didn't think the pads were that bad. There's one that was in there, and here's the new one. Might be a little better. Hard to tell. I guess I'll let you guys be the judge. Decide whether or not there's any pad left. The outside, the pads is the same, so definitely glad I'm getting this done before another track day. Alright, so the rears are done. I got the inner and outer pads installed. Caliper moves nice and free. I'll go over to the driver's side, do the same thing, and then come back here, and I'll have my lovely assistant pump the brakes while I bleed them with the bleeder in the back. So the rear brakes are all done. I got the driver's side all together, a little bit of brake lube on them too. Everything's moving nice and easy. I'm going to drain out the brake master cylinder because it is black as the night. Let's see here. It is pitch black in there, and instead of pushing all that through the system, I'm going to do what I did with the clutch master cylinder, and I'm going to suction gun it out and try and replace with some fresh fluid first. What I did buy for fluid is a little bit of Brembo .5.1 brake fluid. I was going to put .4 in it, but I saw this on the shelf and I figured why not do this once and put the best stuff I could in there. Boiling point is about 260 degrees Celsius, so it should be way beyond what I need it for. It's a little bit more expensive than your off-the-shelf .4, but you know, it's one of those things where I figured just do it once. So I'll take the suction gun and get some of this stuff out, start exchanging the fluid through the system.
Whenever your heart is broken, don't ever forget you're golden. I will find the light in your soul, I'll be there.
So I got her topped off with the .5 brake fluid, and we can start flushing the system. I'm going to start on the rear. Well, I'll start on the rear passenger side, like I said before, because it's the farthest point away in the system, so it's got the longest distance to travel. So if you want to start here, then I'll go do the driver's side, and we'll do the front brakes. Alright, so the rears are bled out, and with the help of my lovely assistant, Miss Hannah, we got her pretty well topped off. I can put the wheels back on the back, and we'll start working on the front. Here's some of the fluid that came out. Hopefully this will illustrate the point of why I did it a little bit. See how dark it is. So that was a mixture of brake fluid and whatever was left in here, but really dark nonetheless, and it finally came clear on both sides and the back. So, well worth it, and I think it's going to pay off, especially with the new brakes. I didn't realize they were as low as they were. So, we'll get the car up in the air in the front and do that end. Alright, so I got the front of the car up in the air and the front driver's side caliper off. Cleaned it out a little bit with brake fluid. It's got 2-piston front calipers. Obviously, it's got drilled front rotors. It's a Z51 package car. So it does have this. The brake calipers and pads are the same as a base car. You won't get like a Z51 caliper, they're no different. Just want to give you a little side by side on the old and new pads again. So there's the old pad versus the new pad. Old piston side. Suffice to say that it was well deserved. I'm kind of surprised they were that low. For whatever reason, I never thought to change them till now. I guess just hearing them squeal a little bit is what did it. But anyways, I'll get these tracks greased up, and the upper slider, I'll put some fresh grease on that too, and we'll put this side back together and move over to the passenger side and do the same thing. Then we will bleed the front passenger side, well, we'll flush the front passenger side, then the front driver's side, and we'll go bed the brakes. Alright, so I got both sides all set up, and I'm going to bleed the front now. Passenger side's all done and put together. Front pads were just about gone too. There is not much left on those. So I think this was definitely a good preventative maintenance call. I'll get all set up and we'll bleed the fronts.
Whenever your heart is broken, don't ever forget you're golden. I will find the light in your soul, I'll be there. Never leaving you in the darkness, even when you're out of focus. I will be the light in your life, you'll see it clear. I'll be your inspiration, 'cause I know that you'll do just what you're told. I'll be your heart and temptation, 'cause I know.
So we are all done with brake fluid exchange as well. Got her all topped off with .5, and it's cleaning the reservoir. It just looks dark. I did sample a little bit of it, and it's fine. So we're all cleaned up. I'll put the wheels back on, and we're gonna go bed the brakes and see if it stops any better or different, or what the difference is. stops from 40 miles an hour down to about 10. I'll do 5 of them. That's going to get the heating process started on the new pads and start melting the resins in them. Then after that, I'll do 35 to 5 mile an hour stops, all while the brakes are still hot. So ideally, that's going to bed the brakes. It's from PowerStop's website. So just because these are Duralast pads, I would think PowerStop or someone like Brembo or anyone like that's going to have a better braking procedure, or at least one that's not going to be wrong to follow. So we're going to get out on the highway where it's nice and open, and I'll do a few stops where I'm not going to be blocking traffic, and we'll see how they feel. So let's switch to the GoPro. We'll do a few stops here and get them nice and hot. There's that skip shift eliminator coming in clutch. There's 40. There's one stop. Do a pretty quick one after another. Pretty good bite, I'll give it that. Second one was a lot better. Or felt better anyways. So I guess the braking procedure's about done. We'll get up to a good cruising highway speed, do a hard stop, and see what it looks like. The pads got better and better. I guess after the second round of braking in, it would be from 35. Everything feels nice and smooth. There's good pedal feel. Initial bite's real good. And let's see what it does on a hard brake from 55. In 3, 2, 1. That wasn't very far. I bet maybe 100 feet. Alright, so we made it home in one piece. Brakes are nice and hot. Just checked them outside. So if you did like today's video, and I hope you did, give it a like, maybe subscribe if you want to see some more stuff. In the next video I'm going to be working on the WS6 over here. It needs a water pump, and I'm going to do the free ram air mod to the lid on there. It's a really old LS1 F-body type of trick. Anyways, hope you had a good 4th of July. Take care, and we'll see you next time.
We'll be right back.